Welcome to day 3. We took a little break over the weekend and we are back in action for activated day 3 training. So I am going to share this video and make a little watch party. And then we are going to dive right in and get started. Today, you'll just need pen and paper today. Just a little pen, a little paper. If you want to take notes, I'm going to be asking you some questions and asking you to look at different areas of your life. The theme of today's training is all about your identity and what identity you want to create for yourself as we step into New Earth and this paradigm shift that we are experiencing. So let's just start by, I want to pause before we jump in today. I want to pause and I want to breathe with all of you. So let's take 3 deep breaths together. You'll bring your hands to your heart and you're welcome to close your eyes if it's safe wherever you are and comfortable. Just empty out first and then take a deep breath in through your nose, all the way in, and then open mouth, exhale. 2 more like that. Exhale out. And last breath in. And a full exhale. Good. You can open your eyes and release your hands down, just expressing a deep gratitude for being alive and well today, for our appreciation for community, and also a reminder to downregulate the nervous system and check in. Just ask yourself that question that seems so simple, but how often do you actually ask it? How am I feeling today? How is my soul? Am I well with myself? What symptoms, feelings, emotions are coming up? Okay. We are in some unprecedented times, and I'm sure that you have been hearing a million different messages across the board right now, and they get noisy, especially as an empath. It does become a little bit harder to decipher what is your truth versus the influence of others or social media or like media in general, the news. And so today's exercise is all about being clear, getting clear on who you are, and also who you want to become. So I ask you this question: what kind of leader do you want to be? And just put some buzzwords in the comments right away. What are words that come up to you for you when you're thinking about what kind of leader do I want to be? What kind of leader am I? What kind of leader do I want to become? What is the energy of that? And I'm seeing you guys all jump on live. So thank you so much for being here and for participating. So as you tap into the energy of that, those keywords that come up for you, I just want to say that the reality is that we are experiencing a massive shift. And we see that in our day-to-day lives. I'm sure none of us are completely blind to that. And we see evidence of that in our day-to-day life. But it's also a shift in our spiritual awakening, in our consciousness, which is not so necessarily visible to the human eye. And old wounds are surfacing to be healed. Shadows are coming up to be integrated. Who has been feeling this? And that explains a little bit of the roller coaster or the waves, the ebb and flow some of you may be experiencing during this time as well. And as we do this deep healing work, which, side note, I highly encourage you to take part in if you haven't already experienced some of the deep healing that is coming up and like asking to be worked with. But when we do this deep healing work, we create space for our personal evolution. We are continuously recreating ourselves in this life. The unconscious people who are just not awake and aware may look back in 5 years from now, say, not much has changed. I'm the same person. The evolved awake souls will hardly recognize themselves, that they have changed so much and in the best fucking way possible. So I ask you again, what kind of leader do you want to be? Do you want to stay the same for 5 years or 10 years or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 years? Or do you want to wake up and continuously be evolving, continuously be changing and challenging yourself to grow? So let's dive into an exercise today that will help you become conscious of your current identity and then consider the new evolution of you that you want to grow into as we do evolve, as we do change, as we do invite transformation into our lives and onto new earth. And sorry about the dogs. So let's dive in, and I want you to grab your pen and paper, and I want you to consider each of these categories / areas of your life. And I want you to consider both your level of satisfaction. Hold up. I cannot deal with these babes. Hold up, people. All right, I'm back. I want you to consider each of the categories that I'm going to share with you. And I want you to consider both your level of satisfaction as a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being I'm not satisfied in this area or content in this area of my life at all the way up to 10 where it's like, this area of my life is fucking awesome. I wouldn't change a thing. So that's the first thing you're going to do is you're going to rate your level of satisfaction in each category that I'm going to share with you. You're also going to define yourself within that category. What that means is you're going to observe, how do I show up in this area of my life? And maybe you can even give yourself a little bit of a archetype name, and I'll give some examples of that as we go through this. But as much as possible, you're going to, describe and define yourself within that category. And then we're going to look at the same categories once more, but we're going to look at them from the context of your new identity. Who do you want to become? Okay? So this will become more evident as we go through. The first category is in love and relationships. So I want you to consider within the area of love and relationships, and this includes, and you could even subcategorize it if you wanted to put more romantic relationships versus other relationships in your life, you can do that. This is flexible. I don't ever create hard rules on any of the exercises I share with you. So 0 to 10, how satisfied are you in that area of love and relationships? That's the first number I want you to put down. Then I want you to think about some keywords, some like inner storytelling, inner dialogue of what do you tell yourself about yourself within that category? Do you have any stories about who you are in the context of love, who you are in your relationships? Do you see yourself as a people pleaser? Do you see yourself as codependent? Do you see yourself as loving unconditionally? Do you see yourself as like loyal to a fault? How do you see yourself in the context of that relationship, love and relationships as a whole? Okay. So we're just going to stop there for now. And I want you to consider, again, you should have a number, 0 to 10, level of satisfaction. How are love and relationships for you? And then I want you to jot down some of the story you tell yourself around what that looks like. What does that look like for you in your life? Okay, let's go on to the next category. Health. Now, health can be broken down into 2 subcategories as well. The first would be physical health, and the second would be emotional health. And I oftentimes there's overlap in how you would answer both of those categories, but if you feel like there's a lot of difference between them, then certainly subcategorize. So level of satisfaction in your physical health, level of satisfaction in your emotional health. Again, usually they go pretty hand in hand with each other, but of course there's going to be some differences. Then once you have that number, so put the number down also without judgment of yourself. So you're just putting it down in a really raw, honest way. This is how I feel right now. This is how I feel today. And then within that category of health, physical and emotional, what are the stories that you tell? What do you tell yourself about your health? Are you saying anything about your physical body image? Do you judge or define yourself in any sort of emotional categories? Or maybe you see yourself as a mostly happy person, or a sad person, or a hopeful or hopeless person. How do you define you? Like, there's no right or wrong answer here. We're just taking inventory of, how do you feel? What is the story you tell yourself, or how do you observe yourself showing up in these categories right now, health, in your life? How do you show up in this area? How is your physical health? How is your emotional health? Then we move on to the next category, spirituality. We all define spirituality, or may have a different, so we define it in different ways, but also we each have different relationship to our spirituality and what that means for us. And this is not the platform to be discussing what the spirituality is, but how connected are you to your spirituality? So 0 to 10, and we want to consider how satisfied you are. So 0, not satisfied at all, 0 spiritual connection. 10, spiritual AF, spiritual practices every damn day of my life. Okay. And again, how you practice that, how you define that is going to be different across the board. But within the context, the category of spirituality, what's your level of satisfaction? And what is the story you tell? How would you define yourself in that category? And this is where I was saying you might even give yourself a little bit of a archetypal name. So that could show up like, I was going to use an alliteration, and my name works well with it because my name starts with an S, like Spiritual Sarah. But maybe you say, I'm like ritual loving Rachel in this category or context of spirituality. Like, do you even embody this archetype of, this is part of you, and it's almost like you take on this version of you within that category? Whereas in the health category, maybe you are like, let's say there's not a lot of belief in the ability to get better. So you might play the archetype of skeptical Sally. And so you can put, this can be fun. It can be playful, like even a little childlike. And that brings fun into the deep healing work that is actually taking place. So I always invite some lightness into the process. Spirituality, how do you define it yourself within this category? How do you show up? And what does that look like for you in your life? And the next category is finances, wealth, abundance, money, the thing. We already talked about spirituality, which some people, religion would fall into that category, which is what, your parents told you never to talk about in public. And now we're talking about money, and that's the other thing they told you, like, never to talk about. So I want to talk about it today. And I think it helps to talk about money. I think it's really empowering to talk about money, because money is just energy, and your finances is just a relationship to energy. So 0 to 10, how satisfied are you with your finances? Once you have that number, I want you to consider, what is the relationship that you have to money, to energy, to finances, to wealth and abundance in your life? Are there stories that you tell yourself? Do you tell yourself, I'm always going to be poor, I'll never be rich, rich people are assholes? Do you tell stories around money, there's never going to be enough, or there will always be enough, so it doesn't matter how I spend, I get to be irresponsible with money? What is your money story? I have to work really hard for my money. Only people who were born with money get to have excess money. There'll never be more than enough. There'll never be excess, overflow, surplus. What is the story that you tell? And there could be empowering stories there as well, by all means. But we're really looking at where there are opportunities to change our identity and our relationship to these specific categories within our life. So if you wanted to put an archetype here, you could say, okay, I feel like I'm living in a state of lack, and I could say Lucy Lack is my archetype within my finances, but I don't want to stay there. That doesn't feel good, and I want to shift that. But again, right now we're just taking an honest inventory of where we're at. The next category is your purpose and passion. So in this category, you could by all means put your career, your profession, your vocation, which we talked about, kind of blending those things, and your mission on this planet in your body. We talked about those things in the context of Ikigai on day 1 of Activated. So your purpose and passion, how fulfilling, how satisfying is that for you in your life? Do you feel like this is what I was put on this planet to do? I fucking love what I do every single day, fills my heart, and I adore it. I adore my purpose and passion, and I feel aligned with it. I feel grounded in it. I feel confident in it. That's like a 10. Or are you feeling completely lost and unsure of, do I even have meaning? What is the meaning of my life? And maybe that is more towards the 0 to 1. So put your number, and then again, observe yourself within this category. Take inventory of what parts of purpose and passion feel aligned or unaligned. Where are you closing yourself off to passion, or where are you denying yourself the opportunity to step more into something you're passionate about, or get more involved in something you're passionate about? And that's where this is not just your career. Passion could be something you just fucking love to do and brings you joy in your life, and it's fun. But oftentimes the category of career and profession does also get put in this into this category as a whole of purpose and passion. It's how you're showing up most hours potentially of your day. Not necessarily for everybody, but this is where we're spending a lot of time in our life, is on what we feel our purpose is. So are you satisfied with that? What is the story? Is there an archetype behind it? And then lastly is joy. Joy, bliss, happiness. They all have different qualities and slightly different definitions, but we kind of clump them together here as the top of the pyramid. And this exercise is one that I teach inside a similar version of this inside of Illuminated, my coach training program. So joy, how joyful do you feel? 0 to 10. And you could think about that in the context of right this moment, but you could also think about it over the last several weeks. What would I say the average level of joy has been in my life? And once you have that number, I want you to consider, what is the story I tell? Do I find myself in experiencing a state of joy, whatever that looks like, feels like in your body on a daily basis? Do I feel there could be more joy in my life? Can I think of the things that bring me joy? What does make me happy? Have I thought about that recently? And just play with this. These are all areas to explore and to just play with. Once you have those, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 categories. We just played with 5 today. I go into more depth of this inside my coach training program, Illuminated. But you're going to go back now, and we're not going to re-rate anything quite yet, but we are going to look at how you're currently showing up, the current story within the context of that category. And now I want you to consider the new version of me, the up-leveled self, the version of me that has released all wounds, integrated all shadow, released all fear, who's unfucking stoppable. Who is she in the context of these categories? Who do I want to become? Who will I evolve into? What opportunities will present themselves so that this can all happen easily and seamlessly for me in my life? So go back up to love and relationships. What is the version of you, the highest self version of you in this category? So maybe you said originally, I have mostly good relationships, but a few toxic cords and attachments that I would like to release or heal in my life. So now, who do you want to be? I want to be the woman who has healthy boundaries, beautiful relationships that have equal exchanges of energy, that I can trust these people, respect these people, that I love and have relationships with in my life. Then you go to health. Well, maybe I said that my definition of health was, what did I say? Like, I don't believe if I can heal. I don't know if I can actually heal, and this doubt around healing and receiving and getting to feel vibrantly healthy. So who do I want to be? What is the next level version of me? Well, she is bursting with vitality. She wakes up excited for the day. Her emotions are they're not stable, meaning they're not the same every day, but they are balanceable. She rides the ebb in the flow of her emotions. She is emotionally intelligent, and she realizes that the emotions that her body sends her or that she experiences in her life based on certain situations in her life or things that happen are messengers. They are opportunities, like portals, like doorways, opening herself up to learning, to healing. So she is in cooperation with her body. The spirituality piece. Let's say you said something along the lines of, I have a very bare minimum connection to spirit, to my spirituality. And assuming you want to feel more connected, then the second part of this might say, or you might write something like, I want to feel more connected to source, whatever source means to you. And I desire a deep connection that feels limitless, that feels like I can tap into at any time, and I'm always guided and protected and supported along my path. And I'd love to, on a quite literal level, have more ritual in my life. There's research that shows how fucking powerful ritual is in our lives. So maybe you want more ritual, maybe you want more of a spiritual community. These are just suggestions to really get your mind rolling. Next is the finances, circling back around. So if I was Lucy Lack before, what do I want to be? What is my new identity? What do I want to create in my life? Well, maybe instead of lack, I'd love abundance, and I'd love to step into the archetype of abundant Abby. And abundant Abby is a woman who knows what she wants, and she's not afraid to spend consciously with intention because she trusts in the economy, the flow of energy and money, that what she puts out into the world, and when she invests in aligned fucking ways, money comes back to her exponentially. And she sees evidence of that in her bank account growing, and more than enough growing in her bank account every single day. Purpose and passion is next. If I said that I was currently like a 5 and I thought I knew what I wanted to do, but I hadn't actually taken action on it yet, it was just an idea floating around in the ethers, then where do I want to be? Well, I want to be at a 10, and I want to feel so aligned and clear on who I am and what my strengths are, so that I can easily deliver that service to the world based on my unique skills, passions, and strengths. And I can be compensated generously for something that I am really naturally, organically great at. And my passion doesn't ever feel like work because I love what I do, and I realize there's probably a little back end work I got to do here and there, and I do it, but I do it with joy because I know that it is helping me step into what I actually love and the purpose that brings me life. Last category is joy. So if you felt, overall, I don't have much to complain about in my life, but there's just room for way more joy. I'm kind of stuck in that fine zone, that plateau of fineness. Then where you might want to go is I want to experience joy in big ways like celebrations and parties and dancing. But I also want to experience joy in the subtlest ways, like sun on my skin and the beauty of snowflakes on a tree branch, and the rolling over and seeing my partner in bed in the morning. The everyday joys and the big joys I want to experience and receive. I get to receive all variety of joy and celebration in my life. All right, is this making sense to everybody? Are you following? Once you go through, and feel free to push pause, go back to this later, whatever you need to do, whether you're listening live or to the recording, and fill in any blanks, any spots you want to give a little more attention to. If you want to think about it deeper, totally fine. And then I want you to reflect on this, and I want you to ask yourself and journal, what did I learn? What did you learn about yourself in this exercise? What did you learn about both the current identity, current state of your life, as well as maybe you hadn't thought about who you are becoming? Are you even setting an intention on who you want to become? Or are you just saying, all right, life's happening to me, so we'll see what happens? Which is a habit I think a lot of human beings are. They're riding that train. Whatever happens, happens, instead of, I intentionally want to create my best fucking life. And in order to do that, I have to consider what I want. Universe responds to clarity. What do you want? What do you desire? So what did you learn about both versions of yourself and your identity? And then I want you to consider which area or areas need the most attention. Okay, so for example, I may have rated sort of, generally satisfied in love and relationships and health and joy. But I really would love to give some more attention to my purpose, passion, spirituality, and finances. And it can be as many or as little categories as you want. It might just be one that you really want to focus in on. And then like extra credit, extra credit would be, what actions can I take now that I realize this area of my life needs attention? What is it that I might need to shift or change, or new habits that I want to create, or healing I'd like to invite into this area of my life? Because here's the thing, all aspects of you affect the health of your business as an empath entrepreneur. And those of you who are participating in the entire activated 6-part training and are also submitting your entries to win a free scholarship, 100% tuition free access to the Empath Entrepreneur Academy, I want you guys to make sure that you put your answers into the comments, okay? So put your answers into the comments on what did you learn and what areas need the most attention. And if you want to think about it and make this actionable, what actions are you going to take? What needs to shift? Because again, all aspects of you affect the health of your business. Now, you get to separate different parts of your life for sure. You are not your business. You are separate from your business. And all of your lives may have separate kind of buckets that they are existing in. But you and the energetic makeup of you is the constant across all those buckets, all those areas of your life. Which is also why I infuse both the strategy and energetics into my coaching style. It is a very much hybrid blend of both. And inside the Empath Entrepreneur Academy, you will learn how to get clarity on your message, especially within that purpose, passion category we talked about today. You will learn everything you need to launch or relaunch or rebrand or just revamp your business. You will learn how to scale your business, how to set your prices, how to create online courses, how to structure your coaching packages, how to build a strong inner and outer brand. You will learn how to manifest the crap out of your goals. You will learn how to be conscious of the identity that you are creating for you in your life, and how to use your energy and your aura as a marketing strategy. You will learn how to launch a podcast. You will learn how to grow a community, a following. You will learn how to create magnetic content. You will learn how to use your human design to create more flow in your business, far beyond what we talked about on Friday. And so so much more. Plus those 3 live group coaching calls where you can ask me anything. So who's in? The investment goes up by $200 at the end of Wednesday, April 15th. So I invite you to join me now. And for those of you who are curious or wondering if you're entering the scholarship, if you invest now at the $200 off rate, but then end up winning the scholarship, you'll just be refunded your money. There's no harm in that. So you might as well save in your spot and secure that investment point. So again, I invite you to join me, and I invite you to trust yourself during this time. I'm really feeling this intuitive call to come back home to self-trust, to believing in what we want, to believing in our ability to achieve it and manifest it, and to get grounded in our decisions and our decision-making power. So consider the question, how do I want to surface from chaos? What will be birthed out of this chaos for me? Ask yourself. Ask yourself, my friend. And I'll see you tomorrow for day 4. We're going to keep rocking and rolling. I hope these trainings have been super helpful for you. And I really, really, really hope to see you inside the Empath Entrepreneur Academy. I'll see ya then.